Welcome everybody to our weekly meeting of the Dead Poets Society. As always, we will start with the reading of a poem by our brave leader, George Herbert. Love. Love bade me welcome, yet my soul drew back. Guilty of dust and sin, but quick-eyed love, observing me grow slack. From my first entrance in, drew nearer to me, sweetly questioning if I'd lack anything. A guest, I answered, worthy to be here. Love said, you shall be he. I, the unkind, ungrateful, ah, my dear, I cannot look on thee. Love took my hand, and smiling did reply, who made the eyes but I? Truth, Lord, but I had married them. Let my shame go where it doth deserve. And know you not, says love, who bore the blame? My dear, then I will serve. You must sit down, says love, and taste my meat. So I did sit and eat. Thank you. Thank you. Now let's move on to the reading of our poems. And now I will be reading my poem. Thank you. Up the mountain I climb, closer I get, nearing the top, confident I am. I reach out my hand, but I draw weary. Down the mountain I fall, hitting more rocks as I tumble, growing weaker, all my steadfastness gone to waste. I reach the bottom of the mountain, torn and marked, unrecognizable and ashamed. I have none left to give. The top of the mountain so close, now unreachable. Just when darkness closed in, a light came from above. A hand reaches out to me, a father embraces me, a savior calls me by name. But I have fallen, I cry out. No matter, he tells me. His hands pick me up, place me on the top that was so unreachable. Here, I stand in his love. The explanation of my poem is that each stanza represents a different stage in one's life. It starts off with someone trying to climb a mountain through their own power, and they soon find that tries and fails, and they fall down the mountain, sinning and falling into more and more sin. But then God comes from above and puts them back on the mountain without them having to do a thing. And he still loves them.
My poem is, the plane had taken off and it had landed. Choices were made and I was stranded. Where was the love that you once had? Is it my fault? Did I do bad? How is this happening? The papers in her hand made everything more real. She signed them by his demand I knew I'd never heal. I watched him pack his bag, tears rolling down my face, denying every allegation. Maybe he's the disgrace. Now we knew he was lying, he was loving someone else. Now I wonder why I always was trying to make my father proud.
Okay. So my explanation for this poem is quite simple. It's kind of sad. It still follows the guidelines of unconditional love, which is our theme, because I still love my father, even though he has wronged me, and my family. And yeah, it's the only sad poem that I think we've got today, but I think that it
His love, his merciful grace, and any doubt is gone and without a trace. A weary feeling, a dreadful song, if your heart is hurting, God says, not for long. Wavering for an answer, wavering in faith. God says, fear not, the answer's on the way. A death in the family, a death in your identity. He knows who you truly are, and you will receive serenity. For in him I have love, for in him I have grace. My doubt is completely gone. He made it disappear without a trace.
The reason I made this poem is it really resonates to me and my faith with my Lord and Savior. I went through a really bad time within middle school and the beginning of high school, and I know that he was there for me the whole time, and it really just made it easier to go through the transition.
Okay, now I'm going to be reading my poem. As the waves come crashing down, I find it hard to breathe, hard to reach the surface and hard to see. Water fills my lungs, consuming me, suffocating me, but then there is a light I see. The light consumes me, brings me to the surface and out of the deep. The water stands still, and so do the demons that once controlled me. Not overtaken by sin, but by love, his merciful love. Love that calms the oceans, love that never fails, love that never leaves, and love that brings you peace. My poem starts off as someone who doesn't have God's love in their life. And as the stanzas go on, they discover
the God's love, and God is like the light in my poem, and then they start to pursue a life with God's love in it, and they realize that his love is unconditional and it's never failing.
Meaning dismissed.
I forgot we were getting up. So I see Katie get up and I'm like, ugh.
Finish it, babe.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.